The bus stop smelled of rain-soaked dust and diesel, the kind of smell that clings to your clothes and reminds you how close comfort and hardship live to each other. People stood in loose lines, eyes fixed on their phones or the road ahead, pretending not to notice one another. Among them stood Aisha, a thin 17-year-old girl with tired eyes and a school bag whose zipper had long given up. Her uniform was clean but worn, ironed carefully by her mother's hands before dawn. Aisha's mother, Salma, worked as a maid in 3 houses across the city. She left home before sunrise and returned after dark, her feet swollen, her back bent, her smile still somehow intact. Education is the only thing no one can take from you, she always said, even on days when there wasn't enough food to say it with strength. That evening, Aisha stood counting coins in her palm. The total was just enough for one bus ride home. She had skipped lunch to save it. Her stomach ached, but she was used to that ache, it had become part of her, like a second heartbeat. As the bus pulled in with a loud hiss, an old woman shuffled forward. She was small, wrapped in a faded shawl, her hands shaking as she searched her purse. The driver sighed loudly, tapping the steering wheel with impatience. The line behind her began to grumble. I think I'm short," the old woman whispered, panic rising in her voice. "Just a little." The driver shook his head. "No fare, no ride. Move aside." The old woman's eyes filled with tears, not dramatic, not loud, just quiet tears of humiliation. She looked around, hoping someone might meet her gaze. No one did. People suddenly found the sky fascinating. Aisha watched, her heart pounding. She looked down at her coins again. If she gave them away, she would have to walk home more than an hour through dark streets. Her mother would worry. She might miss her evening study time. Tomorrow would be harder. For a moment, she hesitated. Then she stepped forward. "I'll pay," Aisha said softly, holding out her coins. The driver barely looked at her as he took them. The old woman turned, eyes wide with disbelief. "My child, you didn't have to." Aisha smiled, though her chest felt tight. "It's okay, Grandma. Please sit." The old woman gripped her hand with surprising strength. "May Allah reward you in ways you cannot imagine." Aisha nodded, stepping back as the bus doors closed. The bus drove away, carrying the old woman and Aisha's only ride home. The rain began to fall harder. As Aisha started walking, her shoes soaking through, she didn't know that the woman she had helped was watching her through the bus window, her gentle eyes suddenly sharp, thoughtful, and full of a quiet fire. Hook, Chapter 2, Rehooks viewers and promises a powerful payoff. 3 days later, Aisha stood trembling outside a mansion she had only seen on television, about to discover who that old lady truly was. Life returned to its usual rhythm: early mornings, long walks, empty lunches, and quiet dreams. Aisha never mentioned the bus stop incident. To her, kindness wasn't a story to be told, it was simply something you did when you could. 3 days later, her school called her to the office. The principal's voice was unusually polite. "Aisha, there are some guests here to see you." Guests were not part of Aisha's world. When she entered the office, she froze. 2 men in tailored suits stood beside the principal. Their posture was stiff, respectful. One smiled gently. "Aisha Khan?" "Yes," she whispered. "Our employer would like to meet you." Fear crept into her chest. Had she done something wrong? Was this about unpaid fees? She thought of her mother scrubbing floors, unaware that her daughter's world was about to tilt. That afternoon, Aisha found herself in a car smoother than anything she had ever touched, driving through neighborhoods where trees were trimmed like artwork and gates stood taller than hope. They stopped in front of a mansion: white stone, wide steps, quiet power. Inside, the air smelled of jasmine and polish. And there, seated near a sunlit window, was the old woman from the bus stop. Only now, she was transformed. Her shawl was replaced by an elegant sari. Her posture was regal. Her eyes, those same eyes, sparkled with intelligence and warmth. "Aisha," the woman said, standing with effort. "You came." Aisha's knees felt weak. "Grandma. I don't understand." The woman smiled. "My name is Zara Mahmood. I own several companies, hospitals, and foundations. People call me a billionaire. But 3 days ago, I was just an old woman who forgot her purse, or perhaps needed to forget it. Aisha's breath caught. I wanted to see, Zara continued softly, who would help when no one was watching. Not for cameras. Not for praise. Just because it was right. Tears streamed down Aisha's face. I didn't do anything special. Zara reached out and held her hands. That is exactly why it mattered. She explained how she had lost her husband and children years ago, how wealth had brought comfort but not peace. Every day, people give me things because of who I am. That day, you gave because of who you are. Zara stood and gestured toward a folder. Inside was a full scholarship, education, housing, books, everything. There was also a job offer for Salma, with fair pay, respect, and humane hours. I won't insult you by calling this charity, Zara said. This is investment in a future built on kindness. Aisha sobbed openly now, overwhelmed not by the money, but by the feeling of being seen. Months passed. Aisha excelled in school. Her mother's smile returned, lighter, freer. But Aisha never forgot where she came from. She volunteered at shelters, helped strangers, and carried coins in her pocket just in case. One evening, she visited Zara, now weaker but peaceful. Promise me something, Zara whispered. Yes, Grandma. When you are powerful, stay kind. Power fades. Kindness echoes. Years later, when Aisha stood on a stage as a successful woman in her own right, she told one simple story, not about billions or mansions, but about a bus stop, a handful of coins, and a choice. Because sometimes, the smallest kindness becomes the loudest miracle.